Welcome to Albion Adventures episode 12. Today we're going to focus on cores and maybe a little bit of comments on risk taking. And we're starting off right now with a little bit of risk taking. We got, 4 or 5 people who are carrying a blue core here, and one of them runs through elite mobs and it gets down and drops the core. And so it's time to take some risks. And so I dismount, grab the core, and start running. I feel like, a lot of people don't respect just how important it is to make sure that the gear you're wearing is cheap enough that you can afford to take risks. A lot of people will make comments to me like, oh, you can't even afford a faction cape, or a T4 horse, you can do better than that, can't you? What are you, poor? And, the point is you want to be able to take risks, and you can't take risks if you're wearing expensive gear. You're going to be too scared to do things like I just did there. So anyhow, I made it to the territory, and thanks to our amazing ZVZ team for controlling these territories, I'm able to use this to get this core, otherwise I would have had no chance. And this guy's being really risky running into the territory here, and it's going to cost him. Getting back to keeping costs down, one of the big tricks is to stay away from artifact items. They can be very expensive. You can get non-artifact items for some pretty reasonable prices at higher tiers. I'm pretty much running a full T7 set here, and its cost is under 300K, which is really pretty low for a T7 set. And that allows me to take risks like this, die a decent amount of the time, because the risks don't always pay off, and not really have it cost me that much. So then they killed that one guy, and then this fight happened just a few moments later. This guy gets a little too close. I got an ally here that's helping me a little bit. And then just a little bit later, I don't know where most of them went. Some of them are still hanging around, but get this core delivered. Next, just carrying a green core here. This one guy decides to dismount in front of me and looking for a fight. And he did not have very high tier gear, so it's really not too much of a fight. But I was kind of surprised as I was looking through my clips that I didn't have more interesting things happen while I'm carrying cores. It's kind of surprising to me that more people don't try to get me while I'm carrying cores. I think a lot of people assume there's going to be a group of people on a core. So this next one here, this guy I think was just trying to get me in combat and stop me from turning in the core, because there's a buddy of his coming. I do get the core turned in there, and there's his buddy, and his buddy has much better gear. And so finish this guy off, and then I'm gonna fight this other guy, and I think he was mostly in like 5.3 gear, and I think he's lagging a little bit here too. So I feel like this is not a very good matchup for me. Managed to miss both of his E's there. So you just overcharged there, and the energy for doing that overcharge costs about as much as, half of my set, maybe a third of my set. So I don't know, that's another thing that I think is a bit of a scam, overcharging. You're just losing money. He starts fighting a little more intensely at the end here, but we're going to get him. And yeah, he had some pretty good stuff on there. Next we got a guy here that I think was just looking for a fight. I don't know this guy's guild. I don't know that he's got a hideout anywhere around here, so maybe he was just looking for a fight. And he's got really low tier gear on. Like, he's got flat 4 gear on, but he's got, the super meta items. He's got an expensive mount, and, it's going to be a pretty easy fight for me, I think, mainly because he's got just such low tier gear, which, to my point before, like, getting higher tier is better than wearing the meta items. Just wear higher tier or cheaper items instead of the expensive meta items. And I'm guessing, despite it being so low tier, his set is probably costs about as much, if not more, than my set does. All right, next, carrying green core again. Gonna run into this guy here. and then more people are going to show up. And this is just to show that, of course, risk means you're not going to win every time. You're going to die sometimes, and that's why keeping your gear reasonably cost is going to allow you to take these risks, because it's not that big of a deal when you do lose. I usually don't like to play any set unless I have 10 or more copies of the set already pre-purchased. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.